Hello, my name is Nicolas Polymonakos. I work behind the scenes here at NORWAC, the Northwest Astrological Conference. It's happening from May 22nd to the 26th. Today I'm with Richard Tarnas. Hello, Richard.
Hi, good to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for joining in. For those who don't know, the Northwest Astrological Conference is going on 41 straight years here, just outside of Seattle. It's completely sold out in person, but through the magic of technology in our modern times, you can watch it from anywhere in the world and watch virtually online. You can go to norwac.net to get all the information you need, from the information about pre-conference and post-conference workshops to the actual weekend itself, the prices, the lecture lineups, the speaker lineups, the lecture titles, so on and so forth. Norwac.net. Richard, you were part of a special live event that's happening for NORWAC on Thursday, May 22nd. It's a workshop you'll be doing. It's called The Extraordinary Power of Deep Transit Analysis. And let me read something really here quick here. It says the practice of carefully tracking our transits, both past and present, year by year, day by day, is perhaps the most powerful and effective method we have available for rapidly deepening our astrological knowledge. Tell us a little bit about this, Richard.
Sure, I'm happy to. I actually selected this topic when I was invited to join the NORWAC conference. I I knew I couldn't travel there, but I could do it online. This one particular workshop, Laura Nalbandian invited me to be able to participate in this way from California, where I live. And I selected this particularly because I felt like if um, I'm 75 years old. It's been 50 years since I began teaching astrology or began studying it in depth, but teaching it probably for about 40 years now. And I'm getting to that point where I want to be able to pass on the baton, so to speak, or pass on the mo things that I would regard as most key for astrological explorers, students, even advanced astrologers that I want them to know if I if they were interested in what I had to say. And so I chose this particular topic because I feel that transit analysis, which is basically, as probably all your listeners know here, tracking where the planets are in the sky at any given point relative to where they were in your birth chart or any person's natal chart. And and that tells you a lot about the quality of experience that you could be going through at that time, the range of uh, the kind of rainbow spectrum of possibilities that any particular transit tends to coincide with. And there's no question in my mind that I have found it the most valuable method for really, first of all, mastering the astrological language and understanding your own personal horoscope much better than before, but also understanding your life, being able to have a very helpful sense of the kinds of energies that will be coming up in your life, the ability to see the larger cycles in your life, and the tracking of all the things that the various vicissitudes that we go through in life, how those coincide with particular transits that we've gone through, and then to get a sense for, I see that transit's coming around again, or and what how can I learn from the previous one? How can I have the most fruitful result of this one that's coming up? And it also helps us understand what people who are important to us, what they're going through. And it gives us a kind of key to entering into their inner experience in a way that increases our capacity for compassion and understanding. Uh, so there's much more. What my my plan is for these what 2.5 hours that we're being going to be together is I want to really I've taught this as a graduate seminar for years at the California Institute of Integral Studies, where as a professor, and it students who come through that program who are interested in philosophy and depth psychology and things like that, but this becomes that particular course becomes a way in which they can integrate uh, an astrological practice into their life in a daily way that just for decades afterwards is very meaningful to them and gives them a language for self-understanding and a key to tracking uh, the inner dynamics, the archetypal patterning of our lives and of the anima mundi, the soul of the world, that astrology is such a valuable key for understanding. So that's the basic idea behind the workshop, and I'll be giving. It's going to be very practical as well as plenty of examples and things like that.
Yeah, I saw a mention here too that says they'll set, you're talking about setting out the methods and says including journaling, which I found interesting here too. And I say this too because, even in my practice or where I've come to at this point in my practice, I've come to realize, the more obviously I understand myself, then I'm walking into a space or holding a space with a client, they're at their own place and where my understanding for myself plays in to
That's
some
right.
to things going in, and then my own relation to the transits and theirs, and then each unique moment like that is like almost like a ritual to me or a space. And if you can understand that by transits, you realize that moment in time and how unique it is and what's available, for one
That's
to
excellent.
understand.
That's a very good use of it because, first of all, it is a ritual space, both giving a reading, but also, as I will talk about in the workshop, tracking your own transits carefully and seeing how they're coming through in your life at that time and contemplating your inner experience and your dreams, your psychological states and so forth. It's a ritual state where you're able to kind of tap into a deeper level of meaning than we're going to be able to as in our usual daily life of keeping up with the news, the internet, the tasks of the day, etc. And it provides a kind of window into a deeper reflection on what's really going on. And as you say, uh, recognizing your part in how you may be perceiving something might not be exactly how somebody else is perceiving something, or it can shape your vision in certain ways that you want to be more self-aware of, so that you're a more skillful um, astrological counselor or whatever is the task you're doing. So yeah, those are important points that you brought up.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Well, again, you mentioned something earlier about, coming from a compassionate place and just keep it simple, that place of compassion, I think always just as a organic byproduct, I think always brings the deepest meaning to me, at least. When you're from that place and you're standing in that place, let's say with somebody else or whatever, I could just say, every time you have an experience with somebody talking astrology afterwards, there's always something that you take in that's new and that you learn and bring something.
Right.
So,
That's
um,
right.
yeah. So Richard, again, your workshop is here on Thursday, May 22nd, 9 a.m. It's a special online virtual workshop to kick off this conference. If anybody out there watching is interested, please go to norwac.net. You can see the schedule, the time, the rest of the description, and any other information that you need. The great thing about the online portion, by the way, whether you are pre-conference or post or do the weekend, there's recordings you can view. If you're going to register for the weekend, you have 2 weeks after the conference to view all the lectures and to basically be present for all that information. There's Q&As that we do with the speakers during the weekend, some that I will facilitate along with Laura, and also some kind of surprises. There's for the virtual people on Saturday night, there's a virtual ascendant costume party, which I'm really curious how people are going to show up in that ritual as something. And I'll probably try to bring some people in and out, too, that I'm on the ground at the conference. Again, check out norwac.net for all the information. Richard, thanks for coming on and chatting.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to the workshop, and maybe I'll just add that, of
Mhm.
course, it's scheduled for 9 a.m. on the West Coast, which of course is like 12 noon for people who could be tuning in from the East Coast, or it would be even within the day in Europe
In
too,
Europe, yeah. Hmm.
where you're 8 or 9 hours ahead. Some places 10 hours even would still be at a decent time in your day. So that's one good reason to do it early on the West Coast is that it becomes accessible to the rest of the world.
Yeah, no, thanks for saying that, Richard. I'll say one more thing here too, because before we went on, we were talking, and I go, "Hey, if we take a look at the chart from the day on May 22nd at 9 a.m. Pacific time, when you start, and it's actually an interesting chart, as they all are. But there's the exact Venus, Mars trine and fire signs, and there's this also amazing 29-degree Piscean moment there with Saturn and the moon when you start this. And yeah, I just loved it. When I saw it. So
That's
when I
right.
saw it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
triple conjunction of Moon, Saturn, and Neptune is there, and then of course there's the broader but a very important triple conjunction of Sun, Uranus, and Mercury.
Mhm.
It's going to be uh, very much part of the whole conference, which is pretty great transits for an astrological
Yeah,
conference.
it's within days because at this moment where you initiate the conference with your pre-conference workshop, and then several days later we have the actual Saturn ingress in the Aries, and then the next day is the of Mercury's ingress in the Gemini. It's all right packed in that weekend. So
Well,
yeah, yeah,
good timing.
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Richard. And thanks, everybody. You could check out the rest of the playlist of the videos of other interviews I have with speakers at NORWAC. Just hit the playlist there, okay? See you later.
Bye bye.